Welcome back to Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. This is your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Me? I'm
Get
here?
off the phone, Chump. It's time to go to work. You know what I'm saying?
Popcorn ready.
We are speeding into the episode today. Like how
I
it's
like
speeding
that. I
because you know what I'm
like
saying?
that.
Because we got a speedster here, Allyson Felix. The legend is in the building.
He excites himself with play on words. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
So we talking about speed today. Thank you for coming on. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
you. You know, I know you ain't doing nothing. You retired now, so you chilling every day, waking up at 12 o'clock, eating Cinnabon every day. Is that how we doing it, right?
Not quite. But
what is that like? Obviously, like I said, to reach the heights that you've reached. Obviously, Olympic winner, gold medalist. I mean, like, what has that transition been like now to like not have to get up on an everyday basis, knowing like as an athlete you've been training,
Yeah.
and for the biggest. Like, I wish I could have been in the Olympics.
On
It's so
that
crazy.
stage,
Like, there's
wow.
a lot of great athletes that play football, but we never reach the Olympics where
The
you get
world.
to represent your country.
yeah, I mean, it's strange. Honestly, I'm only like 4 months into this retirement, so I need all the gyms. But
No comebacks? No comebacks?
No comebacks.
No?
They went on do that in track, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not gonna do it. But I'm trying to find my way. Like,
Right.
I love that I can be present at home. You know, I love spending time with my daughter. Like, it's incredible. But it is strange not to have the structure of my day. You know, not to start my day
Right,
with like. You know, training and the 5 hours and putting all that in. And I love that I already have, you know, all my next things. So my day is full and it's all busy, but it's still, you know, I love to run. I love to
Right.
train. So I'm like, you know, figuring out like, what does that, how am I staying active and what does that look
Right.
like?
Now,
Right.
now your
Yeah,
daughter
sure.
named Cameron, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
again, what does she, you know, feel like having mommy around all the time now?
Oh, I mean, she loves it. I mean,
Right.
she knows no difference, you know. I mean, everything is, it's her world. I'm
Yeah,
just, you know.
absolutely.
So but it is fun, like, you know, making sure I'm present, like dropping her off at school and I can come to like some of the things at the school. So we're having fun.
That's awesome.
Are you looking, are you looking to the day that you can get on the track and probably groom her? Because I'm already know when you have kids, you kind of want them to go along the path that we once had.
I wouldn't be mad if she did something else. Like,
No?
she's about to start tennis lessons.
Okay, yes.
And so like she's played a little soccer. So I'm trying to push her.
okay,
like,
Queen Richard.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I'm trying to keep her away from the track as long as I can.
Right.
And, you know, I think she's grown up like watching me train and, you know, all that. So it might be hard, but there's some other things I'd like her to do.
No, of course, you've been on the track for years upon years, so you've seen how athletes are built, right? Knowing she's 4 right now?
Yeah, she's
So
4.
is she starting to kind of be built like a track girl?
She's quick. Like,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
she's quick. I'm seeing some little athleticism in her.
Right,
so
right.
Okay.
yeah, we'll see.
Ooh, full 3. We gonna have her run the 40. She ain't gonna run the 400.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to her.
Right. Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
you see her as like I know it's kind of early to tell, but sometimes parents, they can see and they kind of know. Like, do you think she's that 200, or she's the 400,
Or the
she's this, that?
800?
We just have.
I mean,
too
I
early
would.
to tell.
Her genes would push her into the sprint, so I think that was
Okay.
safe to say that she would be in the sprints. But
Gotcha.
let's see how it unfolds.
Okay, so you started out when you were younger, right? But you didn't, again, grow up running at 5 or 6 or 7, because now they have these track clubs where kids are out there 4 or 5 years old learning how to run, right? But you didn't start until your high school career?
Yeah. So that wasn't my experience at all. I literally like stumbled into track. My first love was basketball, and I wanted that to like be my thing, but it was quickly apparent that it wasn't gonna.
You can't shoot?
No, it wasn't gonna work.
You know
out.
what it was? You're probably running too fast on your layups, and then it just bounced off.
It was something. It wasn't it. So I went out for the track team because I was at a new school, and my parents and my brother were like, you should just go out to like meet people. And so that's how I was introduced to the sport. And then once I got out there, I was like, oh, I like to win.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
this
The
is-
competitor in you came out.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. I think it was the fact that like right away you could know who was the fastest. Like,
Yes.
you know, you
Yeah.
run this 100, you got a winner. It's nothing subjective. And then I did find my friends, and it became my thing.
So take us back to this first day of track, because I feel you. It's like you don't. In track, it's easy, right? You put 2 people or 5 people or 10. The person who comes in first is the fastest, right? So take us back to that moment of, okay, your first day of practice. Like, Who was it? Did you go beat a senior? Did you go beat somebody who was already going to state?
Yeah.
Like, what was that first day?
Because my first experience at track, it wasn't none of that. All I remember, my lungs burning.
Burning, right.
And I wasn't ready to compete and do nothing.
Well, the good thing was the first day they were doing 60-meter dashes. So that's all they were doing.
Okay.
And I came straight from basketball. So I had my Gary Payton glove shoes on. I had like
hilarious.
my baggy shorts. And I was like, okay, like let's see what this is about. And my high school, we had a dirt track. So
Oh, wow. So high-top tennis shoes on a dirt track. Oh,
dirt track. So the coach had everybody running 60 meters. And so I started out, I did that. And then he had kind of like a puzzled look on his face. And he was like, I'm going to need you to do that again.
Right. I don't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And then he's kind of looking at his watch. And then he brings out like the measuring wheel. And so then he measures it and has me do it again. So we go back and forth with that. And then he finally kind of pulls me to the side. He's like, you run before? Where'd you come from? Right. And then it was like he saw that I had potential, and from there on it's
over. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Again, because you don't need to see nothing else. Like you said, I measured it. Okay, it is 60. Okay, she is beating everybody. You on the team?
Yeah, you just been running away with the competition ever since.
Yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind since then.
So I want to know what it's like to represent your country, because I've watched the Olympics, and then as a football player, it's like I alluded to earlier, it's like there's so many great football and greatest of all time, but we never really got to represent on
the world
stage.
Yeah.
Right? What is that like? Because I mean, you see, like I said, you're there, you train for 4 years leading up to this one moment.
Yeah.
And you used the word stumbled earlier. This is something and where you can't stumble out of the blocks.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Right.
What is that? Because I see the emotions. I know, like I said, even just standing just regular games, like we're standing up for the national anthem, you have people singing, you move with the emotion.
Yeah.
What is that like?
I mean, it's a huge honor, and you feel kind of the weight of it. Like once you get there, you go through the opening ceremonies and just like all the procedure, like everything.
The build up, the hype.
Which is so much.
Right.
But it is, I mean, you do feel that as well, that the world takes notice every 4 years. We don't have a game every week, so the weight of it is very heavy, and you know that like this is your opportunity to perform. And that can be a lot, for me, my first couple Olympics, they weren't what I wanted them to be, and it took like the experience, to kind of put it all together. Right. But yeah, it's this huge honor, but also at the same time, it is a huge weight as well.
Right.
When you say it wasn't the experience that you wanted it to be, what does that mean?
Yeah, well, I got silver medals in both of the first and second Olympics, so that's not what I wanted.
That's what we wanted to hear.
It wasn't gold.
I want that gold.
Exactly.
So that was a problem.
And that shows you the ambition and the drive,
competitiveness,
that you have.
Yes.
Because some people reaching the Olympics, I mean, not for everybody. A silver is good.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're satisfied with silver.
Yeah,
they're satisfied, but you weren't satisfied.
Yeah, I think it's just it's that different mindset, and not to get it wrong. Like I was very grateful and a huge honor to be there and all of that, but I definitely had that drive to win a gold medal. Like that's what I wanted to do. That's what I had trained for. And I think it is hard when you are an Olympian and the world is taking notice every 4 years. You train 4 years for me, it was like a 21-second race.
Absolutely.
And that's like, that's crazy, So to have that feeling of disappointment when it doesn't come together and know that it's not going to be till another 4 years, which you get another shot at it, it's a lot to handle.
So when you're standing on that podium, right, silver in hand, the feeling, is it disappointment? Is it upset? Is it let me just get back and train tomorrow? Like what's that feeling like at the very moment?
Different at each one. At my first one, I was 18 years old, and it was definitely disappointment, but my parents like very quickly let me know like the perspective, like, and then it turned into being very grateful.
Right.
And then the second one, that was when it was really hard because I was the favorite, I had been labeled like this phenom, and I was like embarrassed that it did not come together, and I just felt like I wanted to just disappear.
So what happened? Why didn't you get gold in your mind?
Oh, I think it was a number of different things. I think I was at USC at the same time. I was like navigating this world of being a professional, being a student, and just figuring all of that out. And I think I just had a lot on my plate, and I didn't know quite how to manage it. And I think as I got older, then I was able to like put my team together, and then I could focus on, what I do, and that's the running part, and I don't have to worry about any of the other part of it. But I think what happened is just like, I got beat. Like
right, you got beat.
I was racing Veronica Campbell Brown. She had an amazing race, and I don't think. Yeah,
there's nothing different you could have did to win that race at that moment.
At that moment, yeah,
because I mean that's the reality of it. Sometimes, as we were talking earlier, like sometimes you feel like you can be the best prepared and the best shape of your life and still come up second, come up short.
Yeah.
And like I said, as obviously going from an 18-year-old, obviously now you're trying to process that. Then that's a lot to deal with. Now, okay, you come up short again. What is that mental process like? Because again, like I said, you can either clam up, or that can either drive
it's not for me.
Drive you even further to go more. You felt like you had more, or did you feel at that point, now that we know, did you feel like, okay, you had maxed out, you had reached your peak?
Yeah, it took me a while to kind of like process it. I definitely felt like I wasn't sure. Like, is this ever going to come together for me? And so I went through a pretty hard time after that Olympics. And then the switch kind of went off, and it was like, okay, how can I look at every single thing? How can I get better? How can I change things? And the fire was really lit. And now looking back, I think that was probably like the single most defining moment of my career, because that was the turning point for me.
Right. Wow, that part of your career, right? Defining, like, who was in your life at that time to kind of help you through that process?
Yeah. So my longtime coach, Bobby Kersey, he led me through that. At that time, I switched my management. My brother started managing me, and that was huge for us. And my training group, my family, I had a lot of support. And I think, that support, that they can see the vision even when you can't, when you're too,
because you're deep in. You're knee deep in.
Right. Yeah. So you transition, you switch trainers.
I didn't switch. I stayed with Bobby, but we just looked at everything.
Okay.
Give us some details. Give us take us down to the nitty gritty of some things that you switch up.
Bob has coached a number of great athletes, including yourself. What is it? What's so unique about him that can really get out of you that obviously you probably didn't think, if you switched to someone else, that couldn't have gotten it out of you?
I mean, he knows how to push you. He's demanding. He demands excellence when you step on his track. Like, he's old school. He's gotten softer. I tell him now. I'm like, Bobby, that would not that would not fly. No. I'm like,
why are you letting him do that? Yeah.
But back in my day, and before then, he knows how to push you to a place where you don't believe you can go yourself. And I think also just what makes him a great coach is, he cares about you and how you progress on the track, but he also cares about you as a person, and he listens to you and all of that. So, but during that experience, we just looked at everything. We looked at the way that we were training, and we went back to just really like ballistic sprint work. We looked at, how can we just, I'm a sprinter, and I just go hard all the time, and we changed the strength program and my nutrition, and we just started to like tinker with things.
Right. What's some examples of the speed work you were doing that you changed? Like more hundreds and 150s, or more like 300s, 400s?
Right, because as a track guy, a track person, female athlete, and then just a guy that understands and watch track, sometimes like what you do, the back end is just as important as the front end.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we went from, Bobby coaches where you're going to do a lot of like conditioning. You're going to do a lot of stuff you don't want to do.
Right.
So a lot of the longer stuff, but we really brought in a lot of the short sprinting back to it. Okay. And I started to run the 100 more, and that's something that I hadn't really done. And really focused on that, and how can we really improve that, in order to just improve me as an athlete as a whole.
So probably more 40-yard dashes y'all should have did. Work on that turnover.
Sure.
So take us to the 2016. I know that was a very weird race and time. You guys, the fumbled baton, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
As you guys going through that, then you had the race again with nobody else on the track.
Yeah.
Still came back to win it. So take Take us through that process of
yeah, it was a strange Olympics.
Yeah.
So we were running the 4x1. I was running second leg. And in the preliminary round, like it's generally, pretty uneventful. You just kind of, you're moving on. Yeah, you're just qualifying. And when I was running, I started to feel, I think it was the outside runner, kind of like approaching into me. Mm-hmm. And as I got closer to the handoff, she actually bumped me. And it bumped the baton out of my hand. And that's like the worst thing,
ever.
You
never got the baton. You can't go nowhere without that thing.
Nowhere. So, but being at this time, a vet and kind of just knowing the rules, I kind of scrambled to get the baton because I knew that you can't appeal a situation unless you finish the race. And so we grabbed the baton, we got it through, and then the appeal went through. And now they have cameras everywhere, so they were able to see the footage of what happened. But we still had to qualify because we needed a time. So they had us come back a couple hours later, empty track, just us. And we had to, to qualify.
Time-wise. So is that an advantage? Because as an athlete, when you have that adrenaline, you got that competition, you tend to run faster.
Absolutely.
So what factored into, obviously, it was a plus, an advantage because the qualifying time.
Yeah.
But did you guys know that you could qualify with the times that were already posted?
Yeah, I think that was the question that we had in our minds as well. Because, for running, you need people besides you to, to gauge how fast you're running, how fast you're going. So I think we were a little concerned, just, we want to make sure we get this time. But it all ended up working out, and I had great teammates, and
No, again, I've seen the footage, and is there any conspiracy theories that this was done on purpose? Because it was not a very athletic move forward. The chick or the female went sideways and bumped you.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's very awkward on how she did it, though.
Right, because you're in your lane. You got to stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was anything, because if I'm not mistaken,
you've seen the footage, obviously, right?
It's been a while, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they got disqualified. So I don't think it. I think sometimes things happen crazy in the relay. Like you're passing a baton. It's a blind exchange. Just things can happen.
Yeah, I don't understand the sideways if the track is that way. That's what I'm looking at.
I don't know if I ever really looked back at actually at
go
what
check
she was
that
doing.
out.
Yeah.
Get her name.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was and after that, of course, you guys did the male female 4x4, right? And that was kind of like, that's new to the Olympics, as asking you about before.
Yeah.
So how do you like those type of new races in the Olympics?
I think they're great for like people who are not who don't know the sport really well. I think they're a great
not your traditional track fans.
Yeah, I think it's hard for the hardcore track fans because it's something new, right? It's different.
Something new, right.
I love, like, you can see the differonces between men and women, and
speed,
and I think that's hard for some people to really. We never visually like see that,
right?
Pitted against each other. So I think it's fun.
If there's any new event that you would want to add, what would be a new event you would want to add to the Olympics?
Probably the shuttle hurdles. I think
shuttle
that's
hurdles?
back and forth. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, they run it sometimes at like pen relays and things like that.
Okay,
but,
I've never seen it.
I mean, let's give some love to like some of the hurdlers and some of the other. We have a lot of relay
events. Obstacles, man. I mean, it's an obstacle just to run track in itself, but now you got to jump over something,
and now you got to turn the other direction. Yeah, that's tough.
I know that's not for me.
It ain't for us. So again, enjoying the retirement. So what's your number one thing on your plate? I know you have the clothing. Is it the clothing line or just as a brand?
Lifestyle brand for women, Saysh.
Saysh.
Yeah, so we do footwear.
And how we spell that again?
Saysh.
Saysh.
Yes.
Saysh. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So that's my main thing right now, and I'm really enjoying it. Super passionate about it. It's a company all about mission. We create footwear that fits the form of a female foot, and the company started started organically. I went through a really hardship time with my former sponsor, not being supported through my pregnancy the way that I hoped that I would have been.
Wow.
And I was left without a shoe sponsor.
Wow.
And so I got to the point where I was just...
Do it myself.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Right.
But it's a blessing.
Because one door closes, you know how we did. One door closes.
Yeah, I ended up where I was supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's filling my time. I love it, everything that we get to create and get to put out in the world.
Right.
And
give us some things you're creating. Is it just shoes, or is it going to be hoodies and joggers?
It's just shoes right now.
Just shoes?
Yeah,
Okay.
shoes. We have a few accessories that are like scarves and anklets and things like that.
Okay.
But we have a running shoe coming in the next year in the fall, so I'm really excited about that.
Okay. Y'all got is it just for women or is this men?
So they're for women.
Yes, they don't got
knit.
No, because
I like to wear girls' clothes.
We don't have your size quite yet, but
I'm fashion forward, homie. I like to support women. That's the thing I like to support.
That.
I'm just thinking about supporting the brand. That's all.
And we have a lot of
you coming at me all sideways.
Hey,
you know what I mean? I'm trying to support. You know what I mean?
This dude go put on a wig in a heartbeat. Don't listen to that.
Man.
Make a Seisha wig.
And then
for him.
I've been talking to a couple of track guys. They've been wanting to get me out there on the track. So if you had some track shoes, I was gonna put them things on and represent Allyson Felix. You know what I mean?
Seisha right here.
Yeah, this is
Can we get a close up on the?
Okay, I like the colorway.
I like the colors. I like
pop
the
bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so I got to compete in my brand in the Olympics, and so
That's a first.
Better?
It was the first.
That's a first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like you said, you go through a hard, difficult thing, and it brings you to somewhere where you're supposed to be, and it's been amazing to get to see, this in the world, and just that women deserve better.
Right. Now, are you the designer? Just like, okay, once they feel good, y'all go ahead and do the rest. Like, how are you part of the team? Like, what are you doing?
No, we have an incredible design team and a whole group of people who, work on this. And I love that it's a diverse group, but it's designed for and by women. So
Awesome.
Really some amazing product engineers and
so you just come in and put the colors.
So what input?
That's all.
What input do you have?
So I touch all points of the business, but I do all the wear testing, things like that, and then I'm everything outward facing. I'm promoting.
Okay.
Gotta do that.
Okay. Now the accessories and the anklets and stuff like that. Is this for track? When you're on the track, or is this just for everyday wear?
No, so this is we're a lifestyle. So we really want to meet women where they are. So it's not just for athletes at all. It's for your everyday woman.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
we'll get it. Seisha. Awesome. Now, where can they find Seisha at?
Yeah, so Seisha's at saysh.com.
Okay.
We're also in Foot Locker. We're at Kith. We have an exclusive partnership as well with Athleta with some exclusive colorways.
Awesome.
And they're a sponsor of mine as well. And they've invested in the
as soon as you can get some size 12,
Olympics,
we gonna go ahead and rock them.
So who's the next Allyson Felix?
The next Allyson Felix. I think we have so much amazing talent in the sport. Sydney McLaughlin is doing so well.
She's awesome.
Yeah, we have Anna Hall in the multis, and Thing Mo in the 800 meters. Shelly Ann is still going strong. Shelly Ann Fraser Price, she's still doing her thing. So there's a lot of just incredible talent.
Right. So are we gonna win? Was it next Olympics?
Is it
2024?
24, and then 2028 is
it's
right here
at home.
Here in LA, in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
homeboy. Yeah, I'm up on it, and you gotta get up on it.
It's on Google. It ain't hard. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's why they're making all those changes at the airport. If you haven't noticed, to get ready for the influx of traffic that's about to come through,
which would be major.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
So again, speaking of locations, right? Went right here to at USC. Went to college, right? Big USC football fan. Are you as well?
Yeah, I grew up here. Born and raised, and so I went to USC. My brother, my dad. So we have,
it's all in the family. Y'all just kept it right here, huh?
So a superstar athlete on the female perspective. Will there ever be a Division I football female playing?
Oh,
you think because in high school they're doing a lot more.
Yeah,
There's
a
lot more females playing, right? Of
Right.
course, flag football is huge now. They have scholarships at major universities for female flag football, and there's some girls who can run, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you think that we'll ever get to the point where there's going to be someone good enough, talented enough, big enough to also play college football as a female?
That's an interesting
crossover.
question. I think time will have to tell just with, just starting out now. I think there's a lot of development that would have to happen. I'm sure there's a lot of complexities to that as well, just with the sheer nature of, the sport, grown men, and women and just those differences. But I love that women are getting more opportunities, outside of the box. And, it's really cool to see.
So being at USC, did any football player ever challenge you on the track and you dusted them? Like, you got to have one. I know somebody out there. Like,
I feel
like
a lot of people challenged me, but we never actually raced. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They chickened out.
You sound like Brandon Marshall. You sound like Brandon Marshall. He's challenged me, but he haven't lined up yet. He hasn't shown up.
So, there were some track guys back then, though, that actually Reggie, we're the same year, so he
he's
was
quick.
around.
Yeah.
So people who know track and they understand and can appreciate it.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, we had Justin Gatlin.
Gatlin on.
Yeah. So we were trying to brew something up. I think a couple of years ago. I think around the pandemic and shortly after, we were trying to get a 4x100.
I want to see that.
Not 4x4. Not 4, but that's too much for my lungs.
4x1.
Yeah. And then we tried to do just 4, like whomever retired or whatever guys that that he knows, and then we're gonna get 4 fast football guys.
Oh, you guys got to do this.
Well, we were trying to get it done.
Who do you think would win?
We were trying to get it done.
Two
give it to me.
Track girls, 2 professional track guys.
That's okay. So
4 football players.
So initially it was just all guys with the doing the 4. Then we implemented 2 girls, 2 guys to do
2 track girls and 2 football guys.
No, 4 football guys
versus
2 professional track girls and 2 professional track guys.
Right.
Oh.
Because I think
if there's the top tier ones, I'm gonna go with the track squad.
You think so?
Me too.
Yeah. We got some speed over here.
It's all about the matchup of who are we talking about?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So again, I don't think we have anybody that's
watch.
Really,
right. That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not. I don't think anybody really active. We don't.
You would need Tyreek.
You don't really have no chance.
You would need a couple of Tyreek.
Like some guys
4
with some
football
speed.
guys and 4
track guys. They're kind of at the end of their career, but they still got speed. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be a realist. We wouldn't probably have no chance against some guys that are they smoking. You know what I mean? They bringing that
different type of speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody
I know trust me, I
it's
want
gonna come together.
Before I get too old. I'm 49. I can still move for my age. I can move for my age. Like I said, you can't go too much further.
You ain't lying,
but while I can move, I want to be able to do it. I want to do it. And it's just something when I get on that track, it's different. When you put on those track shoes, it's
different speed.
You feel bouncy. You feel like you can scat.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
You ever got down in the blocks and was like, I'm kind of scared of somebody? Or were you always the most confident? When you're in the blocks, I'm about to dust anybody who's in the blocks with me.
I think it's always. I've definitely had moments of where I doubted myself or didn't feel as confident for sure. I think it always just depended on what, you never feel 100%. There's always
and that's
something.
good to hear
what
from
if
a gold
scenario.
medalist like yourself because some people, especially parents and just kids that are growing up, they feel they see us and we make it look so effortless, but they're never in the minds of us at that very moment.
Oh, yeah.
So again, I think it's good to hear people like yourself that have been at the height of your careers and to understand what the magnitude of the sport is and what really goes into the preparation because we sometimes that's natural, human nature to have self-doubt sometimes.
For sure.
You just can't let it creep too far.
Yeah, can't let it take over. But I always felt confident in my preparation. When my preparation is on and there's been no interruption, no injury, then, it's good because you've done the work. It's the race is the fun part, the training, all that, that's where it comes together. So I think when I had those moments of doubt, it's whether something has gone wrong where I haven't felt like I've been able to give everything that I could.
What's the hardest race you've ran? Preparing for what's the hardest? I gotta be ready for this. I can call it overtraining if you want, but I was overtraining.
Yeah,
for this
right. You got to find that balance of like I said, you had a tough coach. You know what I mean, Bob Kirsten. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So as an athlete too, your body. He's not in you. He knows, but you're trying to find that balance of what's too much and what's can I back off a little bit?
Yeah. I would say my toughest, I think there's a lot of different ones, but the Olympic trials this last Olympics, that was my first one as a mother, like coming back from that whole ordeal, and and then also being older and just like it just felt different a little bit, like the preparation. I couldn't do all of the same things that I did when I was, really in my prime. And I think like having to put all that together, and then the weight of like all the drama with the shoe company, and I was running in my own shoes, like all the outside thing. I think that was the hardest for me.
And again, it goes back to the mental, though.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what people don't understand. They say physical and it's athlete, versus athlete. Like, no, it's mental versus mental.
Absolutely.
And you spoke of something just recently, just in your statement about injuries. I've never known you to have any injuries. What factored into, obviously, we talked about on another show about longevity. Yeah. What factored into, you not being injured?
Yeah, definitely very blessed. But I tried to take care of my body. My massage therapist, chiropractor, like I was very diligent about all of that. Making sure like I'm stretching, I'm recovering, I'm doing the ice baths and just everything that I needed to. And then I think also just like I was versatile. I ran the 1, 2, and the 4. Right. And I think just like mixing it up and not, over racing and all that, I think that played into the longevity.
Right. So, when you're running, training, again, we talked about it before, right? Because we're looking at it from you're in the best shape of your life. But as soon as they get done running a 400, they still fall down on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is like, I know it's still exhausting, but aren't you supposed to be in good enough shape not to fall on the ground? Because you're saying the 400
my experience now.
Y'all be falling out like y'all been running.
Jesus, help me.
Like y'all been running for 2 days.
Listen, the 400 is a different beast. What I did, like before every race, every 400 race, I'll find a spot, like, before I even go out.
Where you
there.
go lay down at?
Yes.
Oh.
Like
no
somewhere.
Way.
Oh yeah. Somewhere that's outside of view of the camera. Somewhere.
That's where I'm
my
gonna
people
be.
know that's where they can find me, and because it's the lactic acid. Like it is.
Now you
if you run it right,
like
that build up of that lactic acid is no joke.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't
know
in
shape or not,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So again, because what we're trying to tell like younger athletes, until you have ran like that, like you're locking up in like numerous workouts, you're really not training.
Oh yeah.
If you're just going on about your business when you're really not training for speed. Like there's a different type of training for speed.
Yeah, you have to push yourself. Like it's to a limit that you probably can't even conceive.
Right.
It's something
until your body goes through it.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
What would be your advice to young females and just some of the up and coming talent? And I'll just name one, Sha'Carri Richardson. That is obviously she's again trying to find her way. What would be your advice to someone like that? Obviously trying to, like I said, get to the pinnacle of where you are and where she's going.
Yeah, I think for any young professional athlete, my advice to any of those people would just be your circle of people. I think that that's everything, just that you trust those people, that they have your best interests in mind, that you can go to them in hard times, that they're going to be there for you and when everything's not up and good.
Right.
I think back to, my career, and at every hard point, it was leaning on someone else. It's you don't do any of this stuff by yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
Right. And for Sha'Carri, obviously she got suspended for smoking weed. Is that something that's on the banned list? I mean,
not on the list. Yeah, that's the confusion.
Right. And then for people that smoke weed, I'm not a weed smoker, but I'm thinking, okay, weed is not something that enhances performance. But obviously she got suspended because obviously it's looked at as that.
Frowned upon.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So for Olympic sports, you're subject to drug testing by USADA and WADA. And that drug testing, you have to account for everything. You can do that outside of competition. So as long as you're not in competition, you can. But once you're in competition, there are substances that are banned, in and out of competition.
So it's the time of the year when you can do it.
Yeah, not even year necessarily. Like if you're competing Thursday and Friday, on Saturday, you're good. On Thursday and Friday,
that's what happened. it was in her system testing
in competition.
Okay. So is that in her era? Like
era.
that's like was that her era?
ERROR.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For
because
athletes,
she should have known. Because like I said, I see that, the tabloids, I see social media. I'm seeing the different comments about people supporting her, not supporting her. Obviously there's the interpretation of the rules. Mm-hmm. So like I was definitely saying, is that her era of not really being on top of what she was supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for her or anything like that. And I think athletes are at different points in their careers all the time. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of athletes who know all the rules backwards and forwards, and then there's some athletes who don't. So I think it goes back to just team, and just making sure that even if you don't know everything, that you can rely on somebody who does and who can just kind of, lead
guide you.
Yeah.
Your team better know it. Because again, it's like we look at track as an individual sport, but you're saying it has a lot to do with the team around you.
Absolutely. I think so. I think at every kind of point of it, like until you are, out there and walking to that line by yourself, yes, you have to do that by yourself, but everything else, you have a coach, you have a management team, you have your training partners, all these people who are there to, support and help you.
So somebody from your team, who gave you the best advice you've ever had for your track career? Like something that sticks with you today that you're going to use building Seisha, like you're going to use the rest of your life?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Right?
I'm pretty
that is a good question.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of people because you think about Bob has been there through it all. Like, I mean, he's seen you grow up.
I would say Bobby's wife, Jackie Joyner Kersey.
Jackie Joyner.
Yeah,
she was a phenom too.
Yeah. She's been a mentor to me and just has really shown me just so much of this sport. But she told me, that you have to be patient, and you have to see the long game. And then also that at the end of the day, the medals are not going to matter to you. It's going to be about the relationship. It's going to be about your joy. And I think that's something that, as I've retired, I think it's resonated with me so much and just has made me appreciate so much more my experiences, because the medals, honestly, at the end of the day, that isn't my ultimate purpose.
Right. Because again, you're the most decorated athlete ever in Olympic history. Right, so it's
we got her on Getcha Popcorn Ready.
We got them all. But it's because people think that's what it's about. Because again, especially in the NFL, if he doesn't have a Super Bowl, he was a bust. NBA, if he doesn't have a championship, it's that's not it.
Yeah.
That's for the outside world to decide. But inside that locker room or inside your team, it's about those relationships. It's about becoming a better person through the sport.
Yeah, and I think it's a hard concept to kind of grasp, and I think a lot of people. It's not until you kind of go through it, because for me, I always thought that was it. It's always been about trying to reach a gold medal. And then when I got the gold medal, it was that didn't feel how what I had hyped it up to be.
Right.
And so it took time to unpack that. But I was like, oh no, it's definitely been about the journey, all the moments along the way. That was.
So you didn't think about that when you got that silver medal? You can't tell me you wouldn't think about that gold.
Oh, when I got the silver, this is a lesson I learned after I got the gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought my life was not going to be the same. I was I get this gold medal and it's 8 years I've worked so hard for this.
Right.
And then it was my life is exactly the same.
Right. So let's go. I want to dig a little bit deeper into that, because the track is not the NFL. It's not NBA money, right? But you guys are still putting your bodies, the same amount of risk, the same amount of work ethic.
A lot of wear and tear.
Right? So again, why didn't it change? Why want the sponsorship money as big as NFL contracts? I don't know.
Or NBA
I mean, it's just not a sport that is, especially in America, that is a major sport. It's that could be a whole nother thing, just how it's packaged and how the product of it. I think I love the sport and I hope that it can elevate one day, but it's not getting that same attention and drawing. In the Olympic years, it's huge, but we actually compete every year.
Right.
We have a circuit.
A lot of people don't now.
Yeah.
People are competing now. I think in February, I just talked to my guy Trayvon.
Okay, yeah.
And he's racing some guy in the 60 on February 4th at the New Balance track in Boston. So I'm going to be. I'm going there. I got to see. I got to see that's the 60 meters.
Yeah.
They running.
They moving.
They running. So as you were saying, they're competing all the
Year-round.
time.
Yeah.
I remember like even playing football, I've heard about the pin relays. And all this
Yeah.
stuff. Everybody's like, man, you're not going to the pin relay, but I hear about it, I've never gone.
Yeah.
So that's something kind of like on my bucket list, if you will. I want to go there.
Yeah, you
and
should.
see that.
Yeah. And you should go overseas and see.
Exactly. I want to do that too.
Because there's not.
So
honestly,
is it like golf though? Like when you go overseas, they pay you to come over there to be in the meet.
Yeah, so for track and field athletes, you get an appearance fee, you get prize money, and then you have your major sponsors and all of that. But it's like golf or tennis, or it's circuit based, so you're kind of like on a tour. Yeah, so and I feel like in Europe. They do a great job putting on a meet. You know, it's more, I feel like kind of like tennis here, where it's an event to go to. You know, it's fun, it's entertainment. And it's a good time. So
So I wanted to go to the 2020 Olympics, but then obviously COVID happened.
Yeah.
So obviously travel was
A problem.
right?
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I wish he had been there because it wasn't. Nobody was there. It was the crickets in the stadium.
So was that challenging? You know, for obviously the racers, the track athletes. How challenging was that? And I know we're gonna let you go, but how challenging? I mean, is that like just training on your own, running on your own, not having the obviously the fans in the stands?
It was so bizarre, just an odd thing. You know, you're in a stadium and you don't have that energy. You know, it's just
exactly.
They were announcing our names, and I'm like, why are they even?
Right.
Like they announce your name, and
I
it's
know
just
who
like
I am.
crickets. Like,
So was it like the time when you guys had to rerun?
but we had the
fans were
crowd,
there.
so it was
Oh,
like
right.
So
You're
it was.
right.
I think really you had to tap into just like your mental strength because
Right, true.
you weren't going to feed off of anything. So, but yeah, it was an interesting experience.
So let me ask you, what was more bizarre, right? Racing out there for that Olympics or driving down the 405 with no traffic during COVID? Because that was the most, when you say the word bizarre during COVID, that's what I feel. Like, that's the weirdest
that was
thing
probably
ever.
the good part about COVID.
Right.
Like getting anywhere in LA. I was like,
in record
this is how
time.
it should be.
Record
At
time.
all times.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That was weird. I remember that to this day. I'm like, there's like literally nobody
one's out
else.
here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Now, would that have made your race different if you would have ran in 2020 compared to 2022?
It's a good question. I don't know. I felt really ready in 2020. I think it even made me more motivated, the fact that it was delayed. And for me, I was coming back from having my daughter at that time. So I just really tried to shift it. And, I got another year to be stronger and, just to train more. But, I also got another year older. So
Exactly. But that's
Yeah.
you say that a year, you say that with a smile on your face, but just another year of training.
Oh, yeah.
That's
was a
not,
lot.
Right. That's
a
not
lot.
easy.
Yeah.
But again, being the competitor you are, and I think the things that you've gone through to this point has prepared you for that moment. That's just, it's crazy to hear you say that. Just to prepare another year, it's just like, okay.
Whole year.
Like you have to reset. You know what I mean?
It
'Cause
was
especially when you're
wild.
mentally and you're physically ready to prepare.
And your body's probably used to 4-year
Oh,
intervals
absolutely.
at that
Yeah.
time.
And then we had nowhere to train. I think that was the craziest part is that we were, going to tracks and literally the police were coming and taking us off of the tracks. We called it guerrilla style training. We would just go from track to track until we got kicked off. Yeah. And that's how we
couldn't
moved.
get out USC and UCLA.
Oh
It
no,
was-
you couldn't go anywhere. So I started training. Bobby came out with his wheel and measured the streets in front of my house, and because even though it was delayed for a year, you can't just stop,
Right.
People like
So-
this. I think I just seen Allyson Felix on my street.
Oh yeah, they definitely.
Wow.
They just drive
Yeah.
around.
So we just did what we had to do, and but yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, we did a commercial together, by the way. That was the only time she beat me.
She would walk you. Though.
No, it
She
was
would walk.
just for the
She would
commercial.
walk. No, she would walk.
It was
Okay.
choreographed. you know what I
Okay,
mean?
so
It was a little
again,
setup.
Yeah, it was a little setup, but I think,
So
bro,
you're telling me you
I
would
could-
beat Allyson Felix in a race? Let's say 100, not the 40 and not the 200, but you would say you beat her in 100?
I might give her a run for her money in that 100.
I'm not saying run
Yeah,
for your
look,
money. Would you
I might
beat her?
need 150,
150?
200, 200.
200, you
you
smoke
know
them.
what?
That's not even close.
No, you know what? I would try that. I would
200?
200?
200.
What's
Yes.
your best time in 100?
In the 100, 1089.
He ain't even ran 11.89.
First of all, don't disrespect me like that, because anybody that has seen me run and they know,
you
right?
Never had a time
true,
in the 100.
never,
so I might not be wrong.
You might not be wrong, but you might not be right either.
I can tell by his gait, he's not in the 10s. You're not in the 10s. I promise
like,
you're not in the 10s. Do you know how is the 10s
First of all, Hatch, let's no.
10 is
no.
You're in the 10.99
First of all,
I mean, as a woman, though.
First of all, hold on one second, Allyson. No. You're not finna keep disrespecting me, bro. If you're gonna do that, I'm gonna put you in the same category as Brandon Martin. Put your money where your mouth is, bro.
So
I'm talking 10,000. I'm taking my shades off. Put your money up.
Let me see.
No, I ain't no let me see. You were just confident just a few minutes ago. Put your money up. Put your money up.
Can he run 10.9?
Put your money
That's
up.
the question.
Oh, yeah, I think he could run.
Put your money up. I ain't talking about her. What she think? We talking about you now. She's already
You
giving
think
you.
you can run a 10.9?
She already said how many times she got. How many?
I do.
You know another language? You say yes. What other language you know? See? How do you say yes in any other language? Anybody know any other language in Japanese? How you say?
Muy.
How you say yes in Japanese, Chinese?
No, what's uno, dos, tres,
Cause I really want to hush you up, man. He can't move. He got a body. He got a body of a 90-year-old.
My hip is a 95-year-old hip.
Hey, he look young, but that body. Oh my God, he's decrepit under that. Allyson is decrepit under that.
It is. I can't.
Yeah, but don't get away from the bet though. Let's put it up. If you bet it.
Should I bet it, Allyson? You know speed. You think
I saw it recently. I think you just ran a 40, right?
57 years old. You think he can run a 10.9 at 57?
Okay, go against the grain.
If he
Go against the grain if you want to.
3 months.
I mean, the longer the better.
I'll give you a month then.
I want to do it.
Give you a month.
Say no more.
He's been running now, so I get.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen.
I
can move.
He's been on the track.
Yeah. It would be interesting for me because I've never
should do it.
I've never honestly been timed in 100.
Never.
I've never been timed in 100
Wow.
ever.
And this and again, is there a difference between hand time and?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
for
we're
sure.
going electronic.
Yeah, you
sure.
gotta do electronic.
Okay,
For
got it.
sure. We all know that. Yeah, hand time and electronic time is totally different.
There it is.
But we got somebody right here that said I can do it. So I ain't gonna let her down. You know what I mean?
You gonna train him?
I'll get out there.
I ain't gonna let her down. You know what I mean? Get out the track, get out the block.
So let everybody know where they can find you on social media as well.
So I'm just at Allyson Felix on Instagram, on Twitter. And that's it.
There it is. The
Yeah.
queen
Absolutely.
of speed, Allyson Felix.
Yes, sir. Get your popcorn ready.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
are a true legend.
Yeah.
I wish you would have brought your gold medals and all.
Yeah,
that,
man, we wanted to see some hard.
Yeah, we've had
you got it
Oscar
locked
winners,
up
we've
or
had
something?
Hall of
Yeah.
Famers on here.
Yeah.
You're the first super duper star that we've had on the show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's always the third best athlete every time we have an athlete on.
He's the slowest out of all three people up here. No, he's the fastest, oldest person up here. But in our prime, he's the third.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you, Allyson.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.